You may be seated. It would not be right if we did not have the mayor of the city say a couple words to us tonight, because it's because of his leadership and also a veteran that we're allowed to have things like this, and we're just thankful for our friend Dave Vruwink. David?
It is a true honor for Barron, Wisconsin to have the moving wall of Vietnam. I was in college during most of the Vietnam era and remember a lot of the protests and everything else. We're finally getting to honor those men and women that served in Vietnam and give them the true honor that they really and truly deserve. At this time, I would like to have all people that actually served in Vietnam to stand. Let's all give them a round of thanks for their service. What a way to start Fall Fest. What an honor to have our Vietnam veterans and many other veterans from other eras here as well, especially those that gave the ultimate sacrifice. I know they're with us. They're watching over us. There's one name, James Stroborough. One of the first crosses up here has his name. It's Specialist 5th Class James Stroborough, a Barron High School graduate, whose name is also on the wall at the Veterans Memorial at Wayside Cemetery. We did a lot of research to bring our KIAs for those walls. Tomorrow, Barron High School will have many of its students, well, just about all the students will come here to observe the moving wall and give respect to those that gave the ultimate sacrifice. I want to give a special thanks to those that made this all possible. First of all, the AMVETS, Post 888, and their commander, Larry Johnson, put in hours and months of work to get this wall here and to have it set up as it is so beautifully here. All those that donated in one way or another, money or other things as well, like all the landscaping and that. It takes a lot of people to do all of that. We also want to honor those that will be standing guard 24 hours a day, night and day, at the wall through the time that is dismantled. We also want to thank those that took time out of their day to help set all this up, and those that will help at the after the closing ceremony to dismantle all of the wall and other things here. But a special thanks to all of you for coming. At Memorial Day, I gave a short verse on what a veteran is, and I think it's outstanding here that it also be done today. Whether active duty, retired, National Guard, or Reserve, is someone who at one point in his or her life wrote a blank check made payable to the United States of America for the amount of, up to, and including their lives. 58,000 plus names on this wall. When they signed that blank check, didn't think that they were going to give the ultimate sacrifice, but they were willing to go and do it for our country so we can observe its freedoms. Let us remember and never forget their sacrifice. May God forever watch over them and protect them and their families. Thank you.
I want you to know tonight that each and every one of you are special guests. But I do want to mention the names of several guests that are here tonight. And I'd like to have these individuals stand, but no applause, please, until they're all standing. The first one is our County Administrator, Jeff French. He's done a very fine job in our county. Jeff, you're out there. Yes, there he is. Our County Veteran Service Officer, Scott Bukowski. Scott, are you out there? He's standing on the side, ladies and gentlemen. You'll have a chance to meet him and his assistant tomorrow. Yes, come on out. And Phil, are you hiding back there too, Phil? Yes, you are. Come on out, Phil. But Scott and Phil are in the Veteran Service Office here in our county and doing a yeoman's job. They're just doing a very fine job in there. And we need to know that they're present, they're available, they're at our service as veterans. If you know a veteran that needs some help, have them stop by their office. And we have, Phil, I did mention, Phil Landgraf is the assistant, Phil. And then we have the 8th District Assemblyman James Edming is here. Yeah, James is here. And the 75th Assembly District, Romaine Quinn. Is Romaine here?
Up there.
Romaine is up there. There, you got a good view of him. Very good. And the Senatorial District 25, Janet Bewley. She's down in front. That's all I have, but you're welcome. Give them an applause for coming out tonight. People have very busy schedules, but if they take a little time to be out amongst us that appreciate their service. At this time, I'm going to, and they're listed in your program, I'm going to ask them to come up in order, but I'm starting with Dudley Markam, and you'll see the other names, Gary Steele and Mike Hankey. They'll come up in order, and I will not introduce them individually later, but those three men will come, starting with Dudley.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Dudley Markam. I'm the 10th District Vice Commander. 10th District, as far as the American Legion, encompasses 9 counties in the area. We're your neighbors, basically. Approximately 5,000 Legion members. Normally our commander, John Miller, would have been here, but he couldn't make it, so I am standing in, so to speak. I think it's such a wonderful thing when all the veterans groups can work together for something as special as this evening's festivities, or actually reflections and the memorial and everything. And so when all the different veteran service organizations can work together, it's a good thing. And I just really, I'm kind of see Barron County and all your veterans groups and everything working together. I just think that's a wonderful thing, and you all do a great job with that. So I'm impressed. As well as being a vice commander in the county, I'm down the road as well as far as the Menominee Post 32 commander, and I also work with the Dunn County Council as far as the American Legion as well. This evening, in terms of the Vietnam's Veterans Memorials, specifically the wall, being a former educator, I'm going to take a little bit of a change in direction on it somewhat, whereby what I'm going to just share a couple facts on 6 things you may not know about the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. First unveiled on November 13th, 1982. The Vietnam Veterans Memorial. It remains an atypical war monument. Its main feature is a V-shaped wall. On that wall are the inscribed with the names of over 58,000 U.S. soldiers killed during Vietnam. Some say it lacks a certain heroic or patriotic sense or symbols, but its polished black granite facade contrasts with the white marble statues and structures surrounding it on the National Mall. And nonetheless, it's become one of the most popular tourist attractions in Washington. So let's check out 6 facts about this iconic testament in terms of their sacrifice and loss. Number 1, the Vietnam Veterans Memorial was built without government funds. Jan C. Scruggs, a wounded Vietnam War veteran, studied what is now called post-traumatic stress disorder. It was upon his return to the United States, within a few years, he began calling for a memorial to help with the healing process for roughly 3 million Americans who had served during the conflict. Interestingly enough, after watching the movie The Deer Hunter, Scruggs apparently stepped up his activism even further. He was using $2,800 of his own money, and with that, he worked toward forming the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund in 1979. Many politicians expressed their support, and the U.S. Congress passed legislation reserving 3 acres in the northwest corner of the National Mall for a future monument. All donations, however, they came from the private sector. Again, the memorial was built without government funds. Bob Hope and other celebrities, they lended a hand with the fundraising, and by 1981, some 275,000 Americans, along with corporations, foundations, veterans groups, civic organizations, and labor unions, they had given $8.4 million to the project. Fact number 2, a college student won the memorial's design contest. Having raised the necessary cash, the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund next held a design contest. The guidelines stipulated that the memorial should contain the names of every American who died in Vietnam or remained missing in action, make no political statement about the war, be in harmony with its surrounding, and be contemplative in nature. Well, there were over 1,400 submissions that came in to be judged anonymously by a panel of 8 artists and designers. Interestingly enough as well, in the end, the panel passed over every professional architect in favor of a 21-year-old Yale student named Maya Lin, of Chinese origin, but it was her design that she created for a class that was selected. Fact number 3, the memorial originally, in the news and elsewhere, was somewhat controversial. Many people commented on Lin's winning design, with the former ambassador to South Vietnam calling it a distinguished and fitting mark of the respect of our veterans. The New York Times saying it conveyed the only point about the war in which people may agree, that those who died should be remembered. But others lambasted it as an insult. Author Tom Wolfe called it a tribute to anti-war activist Jane Fonda. Vietnam veteran and Senator Jim Webb referred to it as a nihilistic slab of stone. A political commentator, Pat Buchanan, accused one of its design judge of being a communist. Some critics even resorted to racially insulting Lin, the daughter of Chinese immigrants. Eventually, a compromise was reached. Under that compromise, there's U.S. flag and a statue of 3 servicemen who were dedicated to the wall in 1984. 9 years later, yet another sculpture was added of 3 women caring for an injured soldier. Not only did the controversy quickly quiet down, but the Vietnam Veterans Memorial has since become both widely praised and wildly popular. It is still far and away the greatest memorial of our modern times, the most beautiful, the most heart-wrenching, the most subtle, and the most powerful, a Vanity Fair commentator wrote at that time. Fact number 4, names are still being added to the memorial. When the Vietnam Veterans Memorial was first dedicated 3 decades ago, Lynn's wall conveyed the names of 57,939 American servicemen believed to have lost their lives in Vietnam War. But since then, the number has jumped to over 58,000. In fact, during the time period of 2006, 10 new graves or names were actually engraved on a memorial, including that of a Marine corporal whose 2006 death from a stroke was determined to be from the result of wounds received in action in 1967. Meanwhile, a few survivors have had their names erroneously chiseled into the war. In order to be added, a deceased soldier must meet specific criteria by the U.S. Department of Defense. Criteria in those post-war casualties not eligible for inscription on the wall are honored instead with an on-site plaque. Fact number 5. Offerings left at the memorial, they're left there every day. Different types of offerings. Tens of thousands of so-called artifacts have been intentionally left at the wall or at the memorial there since the opening. Some of them including letters, POW, MIA, commemorative bracelets, military medals, dog tags, religious items, and photographs. One person even left behind a motorcycle. Rangers from the National Park Service collected these items every day, and with the exception of unaltered U.S. flags and perishables, they were sent to a swordsmith facility in Maryland. Though that facility is not open to the public, certain memorial artifacts are put on view as part of